evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I apologize for the technical difficulties and welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watch for the very first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense is because on this platform we discuss issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. As always, I like to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. And I want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices. And I see here we have from the one and only Sarah the Boss Girl. Good evening, or in this case, it's probably midnight over there. So I will say good morning to you. Thank you very much for stopping by. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. If you have not done so, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. I do want to let everybody know that the subscriber now, meaning um, in order to enter a comment, you need to be a subscriber to the channel. Okay. And I've already discussed the reasoning why. Um, what I'm going to ask you, again, what I ask you to do is if you have not done so, please subscribe and hit the like button as you enter. Okay. Now, tonight's topic is going to be what is la nochebuena? Now, for any of you who are not familiar with Spanish, the literal translation to the term that is referring to December the 14th. I want to give a huge shout out to all the people of the Jewish faith who are celebrating Hanukkah. Okay, and tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. For those of us who are not all familiar with Jewish holidays, they begin the night before at sundown for 8 days. So, um, and as you can also see by the greeting, we're entering into um, the holiday week where we're celebrating Noche Buena, which is Christmas Eve, along with Christmas. Now, let me just give you some of my recollections regarding Christmas Eve. Everyone celebrates Christmas Eve differently, and that is okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the link again in the chat. Should anyone wishes to join the panel, just give me a moment. So today and tomorrow, the streams are going to be more of a joyous and lighthearted themes. Tonight we're going to be talking about nochebuena, and tomorrow night, hopefully my Wi-Fi will be cooperating. I will share with you some of the funnier moments of uncommon sense. Now, as a child growing up, Christmas Eve or La Noche Buena was a happy time in our house. Of course, it meant several days of preparation because what my mother, God rest her soul, what she did was she always prepared a big feast for all of us. Of course, being Puerto Rican, she would prepare Puerto Rican dishes like beni, arroz con conduras, which is basically rice and peas. She would make ham. She would make potato salad. She'll make pasteles. I don't know. No, pasteles is like it's a um, that's unique among Puerto Ricans. What it is there will be like some ground beef and other things um, put in these plastic in these containers, and they will be boiled, and then we will eat them. Now, some people, for reasons I do not know, they'll eat pasteles with ketchup. Some with hot sauce. I did not. And of course, for dessert, my mother made huge vats of rice pudding, or as we would say, arroz con, arroz con leche, which is rice pudding. Yep, that sounds tasty. Um, I wonder in the UK how they celebrate Christmas Eve. So maybe you like insights in the chat regarding how the people of the UK observe Christmas Eve. I do know that December the 26th, all of the people in the UK have a day. Um, if I'm not mistaken, it's a day where um, they exchange roles with the servants and then with the lords and masters and what have you. If I am mistaken, please correct me because I don't want to give any misinformation. So, of course, we will gather together. Um, my parents, my siblings, um, and then in time, some of the nephews and nieces will get together and we'll eat, and then we'll have music where we dance and what have you. And my mother used to make an alcoholic beverage, which is called coquito, which is basically milk with rum and vanilla extract. So depending makes very strong, potent beverage based on the alcohol count. I think the closest thing to it, if you want to call it that, would be eggnog, which would be a poor representation. Um, but I love drinking coquito, and then um, we would get around and we would exchange gifts with each other, and then some of us who held religious views we will go to church and we will attend. Um, well, at the time, it was midnight. Now it's more like Christmas Eve mass because basically a lot of the parishes they don't celebrate Christmas Eve have mass at midnight. It's usually around 8, 9 o'clock around that for reasons which I am not familiar with. Um, that's the memories that I had as a child. Okay, I see here that there are 8 people currently watching the stream. Um, I like to know for any of the people that are currently watching the stream. Um, I like to know how you observe Christmas Eve. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to share something. Just give me a moment so you can get some knowledge. Okay, just give me a moment because my computer is acting up. Okay, just give me a moment. Good evening, Irby. How are you doing tonight? Um, just give me a moment. Oh boy. And there's you. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't know these had the same tradition in the UK. Okay. I apologize. Okay. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do is, for some reason, I'm not able to share my screen. I'm going to try one more time. If not, I'm just going to have to read it, unfortunately. And I do apologize. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. How you look forward for Christmas. You know, okay, just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, I apologize for the delay. Okay. Now, this is an article that came up from nochebuena. Okay. Nochebuena is a holiday celebration for Christian Latino people around the world. Okay. In simplest terms, Noche Buena is a Christmas Eve celebration. I'm gonna use Latinos. I'm not gonna use Latin acts. I refuse to say Latin acts. I'm sorry. In simplest terms, now Noche Buena is a Christmas Eve celebration for Christian Latina populations. It is not to be confused with Medianoche, which refers to a lavish midnight feast that takes place on New Year's Eve. Noche Buena is a time for family and friends to gather and eat, drink, and be merry. And for some, the religious component is the holiday, the birth of Jesus. In countries, including Mexico and in the Philippines, it's more important than Christmas Day itself, according to Aguirre, with the party lasting all afternoon and well into the night. Though Christians believe Christ was born on Christmas Day, and occasions commonly celebrated with a Mass, Latino and Hispanic cultures that celebrate Noche Buena focus on the night before Christ's birth or Christmas Eve. It's an anticipatory celebration where families gather to eat and often exchange gifts. Meanwhile, golf is more relaxing. Celebrations vary depending on your region, says Aguirre. Still, there are some constants. Typically, the night is extremely festive, and at its core, no matter where you are, the evening resolves plenty of food, music, and time with family. The evening is almost commonly includes more formal aspect for Christians of various nationalities before dinner, but the more traditional mass is called La Misa del Gallo, or the Midnight Mass. The food served on Noche Buena is largely dependent on the geographical location. In Latin America, food tends to be very localized, again, as such, you'll see a wide variations of China. For instance, if you're celebrating in Cuba, for example, you're attending a Caribbean, largely Cuban or Puerto Rican Noche Buena, you'll roast pig. Or in Mexico, the celebration more closely resembles what Americans know as Thanksgiving, a big family feast complete with tamales, basal, a traditional hominy stew, and pavo or turkey, says Aguirre. In Central Mexico, they serve mixote, a traditional barbecue meat. Or the Philippines. Across the world, in the Philippines, where Noche Buena is also celebrated, revelers indulge in traditional foods like hamonalo, pineapple-infused chicken or pork, sotahang sauce, and tescocate latte, hot chocolate. On Noche Buena, revelers engage in many traditional activities, including breaking piñatas. Like the food serve, activities take place during a Noche Buena celebration depend on the region and, of course, the tradition. In many countries, the party begins 9 days before the Noche Buena, with celebration. These means large and command, say Aguirre. At a posada, guests participate in an outdoor procession, either home singing villancicos or holiday songs and building piñatas. In breaking up piano, it's significant because it symbolizes the learning, he explained. When sin is broken, the candy within represents a reward for having company and some gains. Dominoes, for example, is especially particular in Caribbean countries like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. In Latin America, especially in Mexico, American traditions like waiting for Santa Claus and decorating a Christmas tree also have become more central themes of the holiday, but with one big difference according to Aguirre that Mexican put in a nativity scene, not gifts under the tree. Still, some families are up to exchange gifts after midnight in the early hours of Christmas. And I'm going to pocket. Okay. Kind of what I regarding um, the holiday season. Excuse me, I'm very thirsty. But let me just take a look at the comment that Sarah said. Um, that she most received and opening your presents when he was a child, and that when she was a little girl, she was so excited to open up her presents and eat cookies and spend time with the family and friends on that special day before the next day. Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, um, I am aware that in the UK there are Latinos that live over there. Um, I think some are from Colombia or from South America. Um, by any chance, Sarah, do you know any Latinos that live in the UK? Um, now I could be wrong, but my understanding that they reside mainly in London. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share another article. Just give me a moment. Okay. Um, okay. Was my understand? Okay, excuse me. Phew. Okay. Well, I do happen to know some Latinos that do live in the UK. I was trying to see if you knew any. Now I'm going to try to share another article. Just give me a moment. Okay. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Unfortunately, these things do happen. That may be the reason why, due to the area of the UK that you live in. Okay, because most of the Latinos that I know live in London. Okay, excuse me. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is an article that's in Spanish, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to translate it into English. Okay. Uh, La Nochebuena is the Christian celebration where the night where Jesus was born on December the 24th, which is the eve of Christmas, December the 25th. While many of the customs vary from different countries, there are some things that are very similar. Mainly that there is a dinner and an exchange of gifts is considered a observance that's very cultural and family. And also they meet with families, even though some portion of celebration may not consider religious. Jehovah's Witnesses do observe La Noche Buena because it is considered pagan in origin. Um, we must not confuse the celebration of Hanukkah with as the festival miracle of lights with Christmas Eve. Okay. Now, Christmas in the United States is a celebration that comes called a time of festival which starts the fourth Thursday of November, which is Thanksgiving Day, and it ends on January the 6th, which we refer to as the Feast of the Epiphany or La Dia de los Reyes Magos. With the start of the season, there are certain cities, big cities like New York, organize a parade with the figure of Santa Claus to begin the holiday season. Turkey on Christmas Eve has its origin in Mexico, when it's called guajolote, when the Aztecs in the 16th century were the first to prepare for the conquistador Herman Cortés, which was then brought to Spain. The famous song Jingle Bells also sang, as a song special around the time of the year. It was written exclusively on Thanksgiving Day, but with the time it became a favorite of song on Christmas time. One of the characteristics is decorating Christmas decoration for the day, not only in the houses but in public places. Christmas trees with decorations lit the streets, the plazas, and the commercial areas during the month of December. Okay. Very interesting. Now, let me just share with you regarding in Argentina. In Argentina, the family table at Nochebuena has certain meals like salted meat, venatonone, pininos, matambiles, pininos, minga sandwiches, different types of salads. Um, During the time, they will serve helado, which is basically ice, like an ice cream type of. Also, they will serve certain sweets and fruits. Um, at midnight, they will have a toast, um, and then they will have fireworks. Now, in Mexico, they will have what's called dramas, which represent the birth of Jesus. And they will occur in different cities and towns. Also, they will include what's called the posadas, which is basically the days before Christmas, where they will go to neighbors' houses, sing songs to relive Joseph and Mary's journey to Bethlehem. Also on Christmas Eve, they will eat turkey. Okay. I'm not going to give read all, but I am going to talk about um, Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. In Puerto Rico, families and friends gather to celebrate, sing songs, and share traditional foods like rice with peas, roasted pork, pasteles. Uh, these festivals go on until the early morning. In Christmas, the people generally rest from the activities of La Nochebuena. At midnight, Catholics celebrate what's called La Misa de Gallo, which is the midnight mass. People will go to church. The children will dress up as pastors and other figures regarding the birth, um, the Virgin Mary, Joseph, and also they will dress up like um, the pastors, Joseph, Mary, the child Jesus, and the wise men. Okay. Now, in the Dominican Republic, um, there's a custom where the children will travel with their fathers and their grandfathers, where they will meet together to eat roasted chicken with puya. Um, Also, they will eat what's called mole con gandules, which is like basically rice with peas with coconut. Also, they will eat pasteles made from the leaves of certain fruits like apples, grapes, and other fruits. They will also eat what's called pastillon, which is um, certain what it is plantain mashed, mashed. Um, Also, lasagna. Um, they will also have wine. They also have Christmas candies and beer. And then they will gather together, going from house to house to meet with all friends to exchange gifts and sing songs. So let's just take a look. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay. So the whole purpose is just to give you somewhat of an idea uh, how we celebrate the Noche Buena. Now, one thing to bear in mind that you know, well, in some countries the traditions change somewhat. What is common is the fact that people gather together. Um, it's a time of celebration. It's a time to gather together. It's a time to be with family and loved ones. It's also a time to exchange gifts. So, so that's basically more or less okay. Uh, I can give you like a full lengthy description, but just to give you a flavor regarding the holiday. Now, what? Excuse me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link again. Any, excuse me. If anyone wishes to join the panel, by all means do so. Okay. Now I see here that there are currently 9 people watching this stream. Correction, 10. But I'm a little disappointed with the likes. Okay. I'm not saying that you have to have 10 people. I'm not saying there should be 10 likes, but the very least, I would appreciate if we have at least half of it. Okay. And excuse me. So my question to all of you, first of all, if there's any other Latinos that they're listening to or watching the stream, do you wish to share what are some of your fondest memories um, regarding nochebuena or Christmas Eve? Now, again, I am mindful of the fact that for some people, this is not a happy time. This is not an attempt to embarrass anyone. This is not an attempt to shame anyone. Uh, I'm just trying to share something regarding the holiday. Okay. And it's one thing when you have fond memories as a child, it's another thing trying to keep those memories when you become an adult. Okay. And particularly for us, first, second, or even third generation Latinos here in the United States, with each passing generation, we tend to lose a little bit more of our cultural roots. So I just want to encourage all of you, particularly if you are Latinos of the second generation going forward. Um, I understand that you're trying to assimilate with the U.S. culture, and I understand that you wanted to thrive um, in the United States. But I would encourage you to try to maintain at least some of those customs and beliefs, because unfortunately, um, one problem is that with each passing generation, they lose a little bit more of their cultural ties. Okay. And again, I'm going to speak about my family. Okay. Now, my myself and my siblings were first generation Latinos in the Puerto Rican diaspora. Um, all of us at least have some command of Spanish. All of us at least have managed to retain at least some of our customs that we've gotten from our parents and our grandparents. Now, I know, unfortunately, that with my nephews and nieces and my grandnephews and grandnieces, um, some of the customs that I observed as a child um, sounds odd or strange. Now, what I'm going to be doing is actually, I'm going to be spending Christmas Eve with one of my nieces. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to share with my niece and her children um, some of the customs and beliefs that I was raised by. Okay. I'm not trying to impose my views on anyone. Okay. I wanted to make it perfectly clear, but I am trying to share because unfortunately, what happens with each passing generation, they lose more and more of their identity as Latinos or Hispanics, as some people want to like to call them. So, but I had some very fond childhood memories um, growing up, observing La Nochebuena, and I had to admit, I love eating my mom's pasteles. They were very good. I also love eating ham. Um, Pernil, I would eat it, but I never really developed a big fondness for it for roasted pork. Part of the problem is making sure that you don't eat the fat, and it for me to happen to separate the fat from the meat, it's not something that I enjoy, which is why I'll eat benny, but I prefer not to. I prefer ham, and of course I will eat arroz con condures, which is rice and peas, and then for dessert, I'm not gonna lie, I love to eat rice pudding. I mean, I can eat like two, three, or four servings of rice pudding, which meant, of course, I can't wait, but it's okay because it's only once a year that you do this, you indulge. And as I get a little older, um, as I get a little older, I was able to drink coquito. So I'm definitely gonna make sure that I have some coquito. Okay. Um, Now also, this weekend, I'm definitely gonna go to my own neighborhood and I'm gonna buy some pasteles. I'm gonna buy some acupuria, and I see here we have another comment from Sarah that Bosco. Bosco, yes, I love eating mom's cooking in general, but especially during the holidays, especially around Christmas time. Now, I have heard that the British cuisine is not very good. Now, I'm sure that's a myth. Okay. Now, Sarah, can you just put in the chat what would be some of the typical dishes that people in the UK eat? Um, Maybe some mince pie. I mean, I really don't know. And to be perfectly honest, I should have done some research. what are some staples as far as Christmas dinner over in the UK? And I'm sure that depending on where in the UK that you live in, there might be some slight differences as far as dishes concerned. So if you can put in the chat, what are some typical dishes, I really would appreciate it. Okay, okay. And I see the likes are getting a little better. They're five. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Um, and I'm not gonna lie. Um, at times it could be a struggle to maintain some Christmas traditions. First of all, because let's keep it real. Uh, Family have passed away. Also, family have moved to other places, and sometimes it's harder for a family to gather together. And particularly now that we're in the age of COVID, and unfortunately here in New York, the cases are going up again. Um, and I think part of the reasons is people are getting sick and tired of all this wearing of the mask and the mask mandate and whatever. So, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. I see we got a couple of dishes. Okay. There we yeah, roast turkey, roast potatoes, roast parsnip, pigs in a blanket. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that. I have never been to the UK, and actually, at one day, I would love to visit the UK. Um, it'll be a different experience. Now, my understanding that in the UK, when people drive, the steering wheel is on the right side of the vehicle. Okay. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding that the steering wheel is on the right side. And of course, London has its own subway system. So, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I will thank you very much. I really would appreciate it. Believe it or not, I actually know some people in London. Basically, people from the ministry I belong to. Um, it'll be interesting to see London. I have been blessed to visit 6 countries. Okay, I've been to Canada. I've been to the Dominican Republic. I've been to Colombia. I've been to Panama. I've been to Mexico, and I also have been to Puerto Rico. Okay, so with the exception of Canada, all the countries I visited have been Spanish speaking. Now, now, okay, let's see. Well, okay, I don't know. Now, I think, yeah, I believe Miranda is from the UK. Now, my question is Miranda, does she live in the same city that you do? Or, or she lives in a different part of the UK? Now, I am not all that familiar with the cities in the UK. I only know a couple like London, Liverpool. I think Sussex is a county, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, okay, I see. By any chance, would you happen to know what city in the UK she resides in? If you don't know, or if you don't feel comfortable sharing that information, it's perfectly fine because unfortunately, we do have people in these YouTube streets that love to dox people and threaten people and whatnot. So I can understand if you choose not to, perhaps Miran. Okay, okay, all right, all right. Um, maybe when I okay, well, okay. Now, now, Sarah, where you live, which is okay. Is it far from London? No, I would like to know. Unfortunately, I my geography is not the best in the world, so I really couldn't tell you. But if you know, but if you you know if you you know if you do live far, okay, if you can just stay half far, mm, mm, far far from London that you are in, if you're not able, I understand. Now I've been talking for almost an hour. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the link in one more time. Okay. If no one else enters a comment, or if for some reason people choose not to get on the stream, I'll end it. Because generally I try not to talk. Usually I don't talk more than an hour, and I might talk for an hour and a half. But I would love to hear from some of the other uncommon folk. Um, what are some of your things? Okay. Oh, that is far, 70 miles. That's quite a bit. So that's pop. So, so that could be like anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours driving. Okay. Well, you know what? It's good to know. It's good to know. Uh, maybe as a stream for next year, maybe I'll do one on the UK. But you know what? I'm gonna have to prepare it properly because there is, I think, a 5 hour time difference. So right now it's 3 minutes to 8, if I'm not mistaken. In the UK, it's close to 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and the fact that you're up this late to want to listen to me ramble on, I really do appreciate it. Okay. Now, unless I'm mistaken, the United Kingdom consists of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. If I am mistaken, please correct me. Okay. Unfortunately, it's been a long time since I went to school as far as geography, so that's my recollection regarding the UK. But what I will do is I will talk about um, the streams that are coming up for this week. Okay. Now tomorrow I'm gonna try something different. Okay. What I'm gonna be doing is, thank you. Okay. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be sharing uh, video clips from the humorous moments of uncommon sense. And to be perfectly honest, there have been several. Okay. So Okay. All right. Let's see. And then, yes, the UK is made up of 4 countries and a half. Okay. Keep information. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing some of the humorous moments from Uncommon Sense. Now, one thing I want to make it perfectly clear. Okay. I say this throughout the stream ridicule anyone. It is not meant, excuse me, it is not meant to make fun of anyone. What it is to tell you the funnier moments of uncommon sense. And those of you who have followed me for any length of time know there have been some funny moments. Some of them happen to be at my expense, particularly when it came to issues regarding my ever blasted, ever loving, ever jinky Wi-Fi service. Okay, and of course I've been the butt of certain people's jokes, particularly the one, the only Denise Gonzalez, which I love very much. Okay, and I know that this is her sense of humor, and sometimes I have been the butt of her sense of humor. And to be perfectly honest, when you are a YouTube creator, you do need to have a thick skin, and you also need to be able to laugh at yourself because of the fact that it is not, first of all, it's not something serious. Okay, this is YouTube. Okay, this is not like a job. This is not like, and this is not church. I mean, what it is it's a platform where people can express themselves and share their views with others. So, you know, at times, and I'm gonna keep it real, I have, I actually found some of the funnier moments. Okay, thank you very much for stopping by, Irby, and take care and please be safe out there. And hopefully we will chat before. And if not, well, you have a happy and a safe holiday. Okay. Now, right now, we do have 11 people watching the stream, which I want to say thank you very much. Okay. Now, if any one of you wish to join the panel, by all means, do so. Okay. What I would appreciate is if we can get a couple of more likes. Okay. Like, it does not hurt you, it does not cost you anything to like, but what it does help on the with the algorithm. And just for the benefit of those of you who are just coming in now, the topic for tonight is, okay, yes, thank you very much. Um, I've been sharing with the audience regarding La nochebuena and some of the customs that we do share. Also, I've been sharing with the audience some of my fondest memories as a child. Okay, um, I'm not gonna lie. Um, each Christmas in some ways is bittersweet, um, because so many of my family members. Okay. Actually you don't need an account. Um, what you what you need is a Google account, and through that way, um, you can join the panel using the link. But hopefully, at some point, you will feel comfortable joining the panel. Now, I do know I'm gonna have to. If I decide to do a stream regarding the UK, I'm gonna have to do this earlier. Um, Probably, I would say maybe 3 o'clock my time, which will be 8 o'clock your time. But I do appreciate the fact that you're up this late, sharing your 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 opinions and your views. That does mean a great deal to me. Okay, um, particularly with the new week. I don't know if you are what's called in the UK on holiday. Um, Here we don't call it holiday, we call it a vacation. And in my case, I'm on vacation this week, or as you will refer to it, holiday for this week. So I decided to take some time off, to tend to some personal business, and to spend time with the family I have left. Okay. And for those who have lost loved ones, um, my heart does go out to you because it's not easy. I would suggest that if there's anyone in the audience that's having a difficult time because this is their first holiday without the presence of a loved one, please check out my stream regarding um, grieving during. Okay, yeah, I understand. You know what? That's true. There's certain terms that that are unique in the UK compared to the United States, because here in the United States the first floor is the first floor, but in the UK the first floor would be considered our second floor. But you know what? That what makes it unique regarding our two countries, because even though English is spoken, there are different nuances and there are different terms, and and I would suggest anyone who's thinking about visiting the UK, uh, try to brush up on some of the customs and habits of the UK, and also the phrases that are used. So therefore, it won't be confusing. And I think if you do that, you're going to enjoy your stay in the United Kingdom. Okay, that is what I do. Uh, Whenever I plan to visit a country, what I would do is I will do my research, and I will try to learn as much as I can. So at least that way, when I go to the country I'm visiting, at least I have somewhat of an understanding. And I see here we have a guest. So I just want to let people know that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host or the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the panel, on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you content, you can block the channel. And now I'm going to bring in my guest.
Jeez. You have a
Good
full
evening.
disclaimer, don't you? Good evening. You must be the only YouTube. I don't think I've ever heard anybody on YouTube give a full disclaimer like that. I feel I'm working in radio again when I had to go, especially when I was in college, and I had to say the views and opinions expressed here are not those of the management or uh, of this station. So, uh, very interesting. I mean, you really try to protect your ass, don't you? You really do. I give you credit for that. I don't have StreamYard and I don't do panels, so I don't I don't have to do that. So
Well, the reason why I give the disclaimer because
mhm.
at times there are people who appear on the panel or on the chat who their views I may not share. And actually,
Right.
there is another YouTube creator that actually does a disclaimer as well.
Okay. I mean, but I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen anyone go to the extent like us. I'm beginning to wonder. I'm like, did you consult an attorney? It's it's you were trying to be as extensive as possible, but I think that's actually not a bad idea because in the time that I've been a content, I was a content creator. Now I'm just a channel owner because I revamped my channel or this channel. But hello, I guess, to Sarah. Um,
Mhm.
I, you know, I noticed that people come on panels and they say all this, and that's one of the reasons I don't have um, what is that? Panels is people don't care about going on panels and saying whatever they want. They don't understand that the host suffers the liability because if you go on somebody's panel and say something, even though you're saying it, people will wonder, well, how come you allow this person on? How come you allow them to say that and whatever? And, you know, I always think it's a good idea to make it clear. Look, whoever says something, they're saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm saying what I'm saying. And so if I agree, I agree. If I don't, I don't. But so I actually think it's actually a good common sense idea. It just I don't see people doing it. I mean, they just don't do it.
Yeah, you know what, and to be perfectly honest, I think the one person that kind of use a disclaimer once in a while would be Gigi.
Yeah, and I could see that because, geez, I mean, she's had her share of run-ins as is multi. And I don't know if they've had a lot of people go on or panels or say stuff they don't care for. Well, maybe, but yeah, I think it's a good idea. I just think it's something that I would think any host should do it. I just don't get why they don't. Like when I was in radio in college, I couldn't even do a commentary without saying a disclaimer. Couldn't do it. And this was a college radio station. I'm not talking about commercial radio. I'm talking about college radio, right? It's a university
Mhm.
radio station. And I had to go and do a disclaimer. Every time I did it, because I would do commentary, because I used to do news when I was at the college radio station. And I had to go and do a disclaimer every time I had to say it. And I was like, so when I heard this, I'm like, oh, geez, I'm going back to college here. That's what I recall. To me, it's just common sense. I mean, I look at it, but common sense is not so common on YouTube, unfortunately.
That's why it's called common sense.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. I never pay attention to the title of your show, but yeah, that would make yeah, that's full circle, I guess. Uh yeah, so are you
Yeah.
planning to go to UK?
I would like to go to the UK one day, but
Oh,
basically
one day.
the whole
Okay.
topic for tonight, the topic is what is La Noche Buena, which literally
Right.
translated into English, good night, which is Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just sharing some some customs in American countries and in the Philippines, and then I was sharing some of my childhood experiences as far as how we will observe Christmas Eve. Um, do you observe Christmas?
No, I'm not into holidays.
Oh, okay.
I would go to the movies
So
on
basically,
Christmas Day.
okay.
That was the
So
closest
basically,
day to a
December.
tradition. Yeah, I would
So
do the Christmas Day movie. Go to the theaters and do that. I haven't done that in Lowell, but that was the closest to a tradition because it's a good time to see movies. Like Christmas Day to me, strangely enough, I found it a perfect day to go watch a movie.
could it be because there's no one in the theater?
Well, there are people in the theater, but it depends on the movie, of course. But I think there's something about that day. There's something about it where I like the idea of going out and doing something. Like people stay home because that's the whole holiday kind of thing. I don't like holidays at all. Never have. So I just
Okay.
go, I always like to go out. I never like to stay home. Always go out. Try to go out if I can.
Is it because there's certain expectation that are raised during the holidays?
No, I've never liked them. But here's the point that I make. I'm a contrarian. Like, here's the problem. Like, I don't care about Christmas, and I don't care about because first of all, it's. I won't get into that, but yeah, I don't care about it. I don't just like I don't care about the other holidays. But here's the only thing that I have any stance on in regards to the major holidays or Christmas is when people complain, and I used to point this out on Facebook when I had columns on Facebook, and people complain about Christmas being commercialized. Oh, isn't it a shame that it's commercial? Oh, it's too commercial these days. Oh, it's too much. So wait, let me get this straight. You're in the United States, the most one of the most right wing wacko countries in regards to capitalism and free markets and all that crap and making money. And so you object to a holiday being quote unquote commercialized. Everything is commercialized in this country. I hate to break it to you. Everything is commercialized. Everything is monetized. Everything. There's nothing in this country, in the United States, that is not impacted by money, that is not monetized or commercialized. Nothing. And people will say, well, what about charity? There is no such thing as charity. Charity is one of the biggest con games going on in this country or any other. There is no such thing as a not for profit organization. Although the IRS might say so and other entities might say so, the reality is there is no such thing as not for profit. They will have you say that or think that. No. They have to make money. They have to make money. Charities make money. See, the difference is there. I used to tell people all the time because I'm anti charity. You want to talk about real contrarian? I will talk to you about real contrarian and real views. I am anti charity. I do not believe in charities, period. Do not believe in them.
So
They are nothing more than
so
con artists and rip off organizations. All of them. All of them. Go ahead.
So are you saying there's no organization that at least on the surface tries to help others?
It doesn't matter whether they help others or not. It's irrelevant. They're helping others is their business. It's their brand.
Okay.
It's all business. It's all about making money and profits. There's nothing in
Hmm.
this country that is not impacted by money. Nothing. Nothing. Let me repeat that again for a third time. Nothing. So
Hmm.
charity doesn't really exist. It's a nice idea. It's a nice concept. But you know where charity exists? When you help someone yourself. That's charity. A
Okay.
charity is nothing but con is nothing but a facade. It's a business. They want you to pretend that it's not a business. It's a business. It's a different kind of
So
business.
so if I were to assist a co-worker um, to try to understand a task because she's having some difficulty with the concept, would you consider that a charitable act?
Of course. See, people have been programmed to believe that charity is something other people do for others. Oh, this shelter helps these people. A shelter may help people. It's possible. But you have to look at who runs the shelter. You have to look at who runs the charity, quote unquote, who runs that
Mhm.
outfit. See, when you yourself, you the person, help someone, you are engaged in an act of charity. Because if you receive nothing financially from it, your benefit is personal and not financial. Charity is individual, it is not industrial, it is not corporate, it is not 501c3. It is you and me,
Mhm.
right? So that's the difference. See, when people help people individually, that's charity. Even if it's a group of people that help people, that's charity. If it's just a group, not an organized group, not a incorporated group, just a group of people. See, that's charity. But we don't talk about charity. Oh, we talk about it. Around this time of the year, you'll see stories about how this person helped that person. But they don't want to call that charity. They just want to call it being a good Samaritan or being a nice neighbor or something like that, or just helping out. No, that's charity. That's charity.
Mhm.
So charity has been taken from a verb and turned into a noun. And so
Okay.
when getting back to my point about Christmas itself and what people talk about, it's commercialized. Everything in this country is commercialized. Everything. And so holidays are nothing more than profit centers. Your major holidays are economic profit centers for business and corporations. That's what they
Mhm.
are. Christmas is no different. Do you know how important Christmas is to small businesses in the United States?
I can
A huge,
imagine that they
you
they
know,
that they that they create a huge portion of their profit, their sales
right?
during this time of year.
That's right. Absolutely. You hear that from people with businesses, small or even large corporations. A good chunk of their profits, not just their profits, but their revenues come from this season alone. And yet people call it commercialized. Oh, it's commercialized. Oh, it's too fixated on money. It's too fixated. the reason why these holidays exist in this country is money. Halloween is about money. Thanksgiving is about money. Christmas is about money. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it's
Mhm.
going to be, because everything in this country is about the financial. Everything. Everything has a price tag attached to it. And
Mhm.
anyone who doesn't think so is either stupid or lying to themselves.
Okay. Well, now this is how I look at Christmas. Yes, there is a commercial element because look, we're in a capitalist society, so of course it's going to be a capitalistic element to it. Okay. Now I I take the time, which is the weeks prior to Christmas, which we call Advent, as a time of self-reflection, uh, taking stock of my life, taking a careful review where I need to improve for the next year to do better. Okay, and of course, for me, the big thing is to celebrate the birth of someone that for me is extremely important, which is known as Jesus of Nazareth. Of course, we all know he was not born on December the 25th. For all we know, he could have been born in the springtime. Okay, but what's important is not that he was born on December the 25th. What's important that he came and he imparted a set of beliefs, a philosophy, a way of life of which I aspire to follow.
Well, Christmas has nothing to do with that. That's just the
Okay.
bottom line. That's a whole different other
No.
thing. But basically, what it derives from is winter solstice. It's
Mhm.
basically the old, the old belief systems of the Romans, Saturnalia, for example.
Yeah.
Um, it's
Yeah.
there, it's winter solstice. That's what it is. I don't understand why people of these belief systems cling to Christmas as a holiday relating to their belief system. But hey, I guess whatever works. I guess you guess whatever works for them, but it has nothing to do with it. It's funny, really. It's kind of strange, but no. But that's the way it is with a lot of other things. What people think is the case is not really the case.
Hmm. Yeah. So, is there any holiday at all?
Is there any what
Holidays.
holidays? What about them?
I mean, okay. So you don't observe Christmas. You don't observe Thanksgiving. You don't observe Halloween. Uh, I assume you don't observe Easter. Do you observe, say, the
Yeah,
Fourth
I'm
of
not
July, or do you
interested.
observe?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't pay attention to any holiday. It's
Mhm.
it's not for me to. I don't have any interest in holidays. Never have. I always thought it was a waste of time because I'm an independent contractor and I worked. You know, I don't work for anyone but me. So I'm like, I don't need the day off. So I'm like, because I can get days off. I can create my own days off. So that's one reason primarily. If I think back, yeah, that's one of the major reasons. Is like, also I can't stand holidays. It's always nothing. Nothing's open. Well, it used to
Mhm.
be nothing was open. Now that's changed. That's another thing I don't like about these holidays. It used to be that all these fast food restaurants and all these places were closed on the major holidays. Like I could go out on Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas, but primarily Thanksgiving, some of these other holidays, and McDonald's will be closed. All these fast food restaurants will be closed. Now they're open. They've been open over the years, and I don't agree with that
Mhm.
at all. I think that's a shame. And again, that's why I say
Unfortunately,
holidays are about, that's why I say holidays are profit centers for corporations. They're commercial. There's nothing else that's of value to them. Go ahead.
okay. However, there are certain holidays that people do give. So, um, if we can change the subject slightly, um,
Mm.
by any chance, did you did you watch the stream that Bluish Julenda gave? I think it was the other night when he invited several people from the mixed community to get together to try to have, I guess, some sort of time of getting together and trying to resolve some of the issues that exist.
I'm not aware. Yeah, I don't really know. Oh, I guess he's back. I guess he's back. Talking about biracial stuff. Is that right with him?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. No, I didn't. I wasn't aware of it. Um, I do know this. I do know that we have. I don't. You may have been there, but I believe when I was on Future is Golden's panel, we were discussing what we need to do in the biracial spaces, and that includes vetting people better for panels. That includes, let's see, keeping out problematic elements, and you know essentially gatekeeping to an extent, it seemed to me. And so it seems like a number of these, I would call them basic reforms, are looks like they're beginning to take place in the biracial space here on YouTube. And I think it's just that I think it's different
Mhm.
from, say, some other spaces that I've seen, in that there's conflict here, but it's not. I don't think the level of conflict is anywhere near what I've seen in other spaces. Like, I've seen so much conflict in at least in one particular space that this is,
Yeah.
the space, the biracial spaces are easy by comparison to what I've seen. I'm like, this is, I don't know, this is like a picnic in many respects compared to what I've seen elsewhere. But I I think this
Mhm.
just seems to be part of a broader effort to, I think, basically, how was it, enforce boundaries and keep order in biracial spaces. And I agreed with it on the panel that I was on with Future, I think Future's Golden's panel, and I agree with it now. And that's why I came out on my channel and unexpectedly recently and warned about people in another space, because I saw one of them in, I think it was Gigi's chat, this guy. And this is a guy who's been harassing my channel. Uh, and I said, and I've said, look, we need to make sure that people from a particular space, which I won't name here, hopefully they
Mhm.
won't come over. We won't get them here, but I think it's part and parcel. I think part of that was being on that panel and hearing what people were saying and what we need to do. And that's why I did it. Otherwise, I don't talk about other spaces and I don't talk about other places if I'm in a space like this or any other space. I just don't talk about it. But I felt like, I had to sound the alarm. And hopefully, nothing will come out of it. But I hear in that space that they didn't cotton too much to it. And they didn't like it, which is interesting because I wasn't talking to them. I was talking to people in the biracial spaces, but so be it. Didn't involve them. Go ahead.
Well, you had several individuals. Some of them they actually had conflicts with each other, and it
Mm-hmm.
was plain to see by everyone who had conflicts with whom.
Right.
And I'm not going to mention anyone's name
Name.
as far as,
Right.
okay, because first of all, I don't want to give them any shine, number one.
Right. Oh yeah.
And
I
number
I I
two,
I have an idea what you're talking about. Go ahead.
okay. And,
Right.
and this is, and certain, certain YouTube create, let me just say this, and I'm going to make a general statement. Each YouTube creator has a right to invite whomever they wish on their platforms. I don't wish to regulate how they do their platforms. However, I think it's safe to say there's certain individuals that should not appear because, in my estimation, they don't contribute anything positive. They're very toxic, and they have issues with other people's point of view, and they're very thin-skinned. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah. I have an idea. Now I will say this. I think I came across one or two videos by Bluish, so I was kind of surprised that he was. Maybe he didn't go away. He was around doing stuff, but um, I don't know his content, so I don't really know much of what he talks about. But I did see a couple of aspects. Um, I will say this. I think that an effort to provide a mediation, if it's done once or twice, is fine. I don't know if it's something that in the biracial spaces it needs to be done constantly, but if it's done once or twice, I think that's good. I'm fine with that. If there's, if
Okay.
again, we have to in the biracial spaces. Again, I've really kept quiet about a couple of these things, and it wasn't really until recently that I started talking and saying this because I don't want to talk about other spaces and places, but I don't want people from other spaces that will bring toxic, polluted, radioactive ideas and behavior into the spaces of biracial people. And you don't want that to get to the extent
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen that elsewhere. And the nice thing I will say about the biracial spaces is frankly,
Mm-hmm.
this is why I don't have an issue with a lot of the content creators. Is I feel that the content creators have been supportive of me insofar as I've been on their panels and talked to them and so forth. I don't feel it, and even some of them have supported my channel. Um, so I feel perfectly fine being in biracial spaces. I don't know how others do. Everybody, again, it's individuals. Individuals have their experiences. My experiences here have been positive. I haven't really had a lot of negative experiences because if people are critical of me, I don't know about it. People don't come up and say, hey, this person said this or this person said that. we focus on what the task is ahead. But I will say this, and I'll be
Mm-hmm.
brutally honest. I will never apologize for defending biracial people. I will never apologize for
Mm-hmm.
looking out for the interests of biracial people. And I don't care what anyone says or says about me. And I don't care how anyone reacts to that. They can laugh, they can, they can mock, they can put it down, they can say whatever they want. But I will never apologize for defending biracial people. And I will never apologize for looking out for my people, biracial people, and looking out for our interests. And I would say to those in the biracial spaces, um, I'm not a fan of Ronald Reagan. I don't like him, but I remember he said this to a group during the election he was running. He said, "You can't endorse me, but I endorse you." So that's what I would say to my biracial content, to the biracial content creators out there. I endorse you, and I endorse the
Mm-hmm.
space. And so if you're working to the benefit and the betterment of our spaces, our biracial spaces, then I think that's a good thing. And again, I think if he's helping to mediate, I think if there was some mediation that occurred there, hey, it's a good move. I think it's fine to do that. So long as it isn't, you try it once or twice. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. How did it turn out?
Um, let's just say it did not have the necessary desired effect, and you had let's say you have at least three of the people on the panel that were arguing with each other.
I see. Well, again,
Okay.
at least, as they say, it's the thought that counts, right? So you put
Mm-hmm.
it out there, you see where it goes. Maybe this won't occur again, or maybe it won't occur on a regular basis. But you try it, you see how it goes.
Okay. No,
Period
this
out.
is the way yeah. I have to admit, I'm an outsider here.
Uh-huh.
That in order to have some sort of healing or reconciliation, the parties involved must be honest with each other. There have to be a certain amount of accountability for their actions, and they have to show that they mean what they say and not exhibit the same type of toxic behavior. Because if they're not at that stage when they can do that, um, you know, it takes two people to have an argument. It takes two people to resolve an issue.
Mm-hmm. See,
So
I
I'm sure.
my
Yeah, I'm sorry.
take on it is simply if there was an effort to try to mediate, I approve of that. And again, I think what we're seeing in the biracial spaces is an effort for us. We're doing some of the work here, it seems to me, and we're doing our best to support our space, make our space work. There are very good conversations that go on these panels and on these channels. I've been involved in some of them, and that's the thing I like about being in that space is where it's not simply about our ethnicity or our racial mix. It's about the fact that we have work to do. We have actual work to do, and that being on YouTube is a part of this work. It may be very little of this work, but it's a part of this work. And I think that's very important. We can't just be here for fun. I mean, it's not simply about fun, you know. But like I said, I will never apologize for defending biracial people. Never. and looking out for the best interest of
Yeah.
biracial people. I'll never apologize for that. No.
Well, hopefully the biracial community will accept me as an ally because I do try to understand the issue regarding the biracial community, and there are multiple issues. Also,
I think it depends. Yeah, I think it depends on the people. Like some people are fine with you, others may not. And I think that's what you have to
yeah,
probably deal with. It just, but that's the way it always is, right? Any community. Like there are people who obviously are fans of yours, and there are people who aren't.
yeah,
I can't put it to you any
that's true.
simpler than that. Yeah. So,
No, I
um,
agree.
so long as you are doing productive, with the productive people and not the destructive people, I think that's what counts. I think that's what will work.
Mhm. Yes, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. Okay. I know there's people that will, I just, that I would never be, their cup of tea. Okay. I can't worry about those who do not want to associate with me. I cannot worry about those who do not want to interact with me. I'm concerned about those who wish to interact with me, and then whatever we can achieve common ground, we will. If we have disagreements, we will have disagreements, but we're going to discuss them rationally and maturely. Okay. But at this point, I can't worry about those who have issues with me for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean it's as you are well aware of it, it's part of YouTube. It's people don't need a reason. They don't need um, some tangible, structured, concrete uh, aspect in order to come after you, or even not like you. It's just, I mean, not liking is one thing. Yeah, people are entitled to like or not like people if they don't. But it's when it goes beyond that that's the issue. And in the end of the day, like I said, I think it's a matter of, at least with the biracial community, it's a matter of dealing with the people who want you around as opposed to those who don't.
You know, and the fact about it is there's several members of the biracial community that I get along with very well. Okay. There's a couple that I don't. You know what? It is what it is. I can't worry about those people. I prefer to deal with those who want to deal with me.
Yeah, that's true. I think from at least my being on that panel that I spoke of earlier, what I see are moves being made, maybe slowly, but moves being made in regards to the community and the spaces. And we'll see where it goes. I can only hope that we continue putting out productive and constructive content that will serve to enrich and inform not only biracial people but monoracial people as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Um, but it's been an interesting experience um, dealing with some of these individuals. Okay, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll try to be diplomatic here. I have an easier time dealing with women, at least in the biracial spaces, or maybe in general in life, than men.
Hmm.
And when it comes to the spaces here, I just have an easier time dealing with women. Um, and I think what I see with a lot of guys, with a number of guys, is they have a lot of personal problems and issues that they bring here. And I've always been, I guess maybe because I was a freelance writer and I was a print journalist in my former life, I'm used to having a kind of public life. I mean, I wasn't known, I wasn't a famous person or anything, but you learn to understand that if you're putting stuff out in the public, that you have to have a public, maybe not persona to a certain extent. Maybe you do, but at least there has to be a public image, and there's a public, there's an aspect of you that is the public. And I think a lot of people have a very basic level of that, not an extensive level of that, but a rather basic level of that. Right? They go out into the community and they know how to deal with people. But beyond that, they don't really have an understanding of that. So for them, what happens is, because they open their mouth or because other people dig into their background and their life, their real life and their personal life becomes, and for some private life, but who they are, their real life becomes a part of YouTube, because what they've done on YouTube or on social media, whatever, is put out for some or number, it's a fake life. It's a fake persona. It's a phony, it's a facade. And so the facade can be somewhat real, or it can be somewhat fake. Or it can be a combination, real and fake. But once their real lives come out to an extent, or some part of it comes out, and their personalities come out, it's different. Now they've got to reckon with who they really are, as opposed to who they want people to think they are. And that's the big thing. And that's what you have to understand. I mean, that's what you are dealing with people. What I have certainly dealt with people. But what I observe is everyone has a facade on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, doesn't matter whether you are a content creator or channel owner or not, you have a facade on YouTube. And that facade can be true. It can be real. It can be fake. It can be kind of a mixture of it. But at some point, it's a facade. And once your real life comes out, you got to hope that there's nothing about your real life that will kind of impact you. You have to be able to deal with that. Because if you have a life that, if your life is something that you have an issue with or a problem with, like you want to be someone else or something else on YouTube, then when your real life comes out, that's going to be hard. See, I don't know. See, that's something that I've always, I think as an individual, my curiosity is always with people who pretend to be something other than they are. I don't know why, but I've always been intrigued. I've always been fascinated by people who pretend to be something they're not. They always intrigue me. And I think it's down to, because I'm somebody who has always been who he has been and doesn't really understand what it's like to be something other than himself. All I can be is me. I don't know what it's like to be someone. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I wonder, what is it like to pretend to be this whole other person?
Well, one thing I have seen in almost a year and a half as a serious YouTube creator. Okay. I've seen people that love to act a certain way when they are uh, behind a computer, a keyboard. Okay. But however, if you were to meet them in person, they'll act totally different. And I see that um, on multiple occasions. And it's just the nature of things in YouTube. Um, you know, you have trolls, and you do what you can to limit their appearance. Okay, can you stop them from coming? No, not completely. What you can do is you can take actions. Once the trolls make their presence felt. Okay, I have banned people from appearing on my platform. I have blocked people. Um, One person and actually stated that I was racist. When I called this individual out on it, I said to him, "Okay, either produce your receipts or we can't." To this day, the person has not done so. So for that reason, that person has not been allowed to return on my platform.
Yes, I've banned several people from my platform as well. And I have about three rules only for my channel. And the weird thing though is, like I said, the individual that I mentioned who I saw in a chat in biracial space is one of two people that have been harassing my channel. He was banned, informed he was banned, and yet he tried to come back under a troll account, which I knew. For some
Mm-hmm.
people, it's not so much a matter, like, you can ban them and you can keep them out and they stay out and they may not like it, but they're gone. I banned several people. They don't come back. But these two came back. And for me, this is the thing that people have to understand about YouTube is you don't really know what people's motivations are. And I don't understand what would enable somebody who's been told, yes, you can't come here, to keep trying to come back. It's, from my experience in life and from my, I guess, the reality that I've got, I'm somebody who doesn't spend time where he's not wanted. It doesn't make sense to me. Hey, you don't want me on your channel, I don't go there. You don't want me on your panel, I don't go there. I just don't talk to you. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
anything to do with you. If we're on a panel and you want to talk to me, hey, so be it. But I don't do that. But why people want to come to a place they're not wanted, I don't get. And it's not so much the couple of people that tried harassing my channel, so much as people who try to do this with other channels that I notice. Like, they keep trying to come back, and maybe they're not bad, but they're clearly have what I call fights, slights, and gripes with other people. And I go, why? What is it? I mean, it's fascinating that people feel compelled. I think, it's fascinating to me. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a degree in psychology. I studied English. I studied literature, minor in history. So I took like one psychology class. That was it in college. But I'm realizing, one of the things I realized on YouTube, this is a smorgasbord, a feast for someone in the world of psychology or
Mm-hmm.
psychiatry. There must be people studying YouTube. There have to be. Because I'm not even educated in terms of psychology, and I see it. There's so much here to, like, take a microscope to and examine. Somebody's got to be doing this. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a writer, so what do I know about that?
Uh,
But
I'm sure someone. I'm sure
it's a,
someone is.
yeah. I mean, the problem is I know a certain amount of how to deal with people. I think the problem is I'm not used to dealing with certain kinds, these certain behaviors and these certain personality types. Maybe if I was, it'd be different, but I'm not. So I just go, I don't get it. Why, like, don't you have somewhere else to go? Why me? I mean, I was kind of investigating at least one or two of these people that, or trying to find out. Uh, yeah, that's true. Well, trolling's one thing. And trolls just want to insult and, well, generally insult and put down. But even some of these trolls are really disturbed. They got issues. Um, but um, I was thinking about, you know,
Yeah.
I was go ahead.
Yeah. Well, at sometimes I don't think even the trolls know why they do what they do, because I've seen it on multiple platforms. Certain individuals, they were told not to return to the platform, but yet they
Mm-hmm.
do anyway. Okay. I don't want to give names. I don't want to get into specifics because we all know who I'm talking about. So um but my thing is this: if I was told one time that I was not welcome on a platform, why am I going to go back to that platform and
Yeah, I
particularly
never
there are,
understood that.
I mean,
Good.
particularly when it's literally millions of other platforms where you can participate in.
Right. And that's the weird. That's just one of the strange things about YouTube is the way people behave here. That's why I said it needs to be examined and studied and scrutinized. Because I mean, I come across people here, and it's their behaviors are just very different, and a lot of that is general what I call online behaviors. Like people behave differently online than they would offline. But on YouTube, it's a little, it's more specific. It's a different kind of disorder or syndrome, however you want to look at it. It's like you're dealing with people that I don't know. Maybe they have nowhere else to go. I don't know. I mean, it's. I mean, part of it is a concern for me. Like one of the people that harassed my channel, I found out they wrote in a chat, someone's comment that they had thoroughly researched me, and I'm going,
Mhm.
okay, why do you need to thoroughly research me? I don't care whether people are looking me up online, but that comment implies something else. Like there's only so much information you're going to get about me online. It's just the way it is. I'm not somebody who's a celebrity or famous or exceedingly wealthy. There's only so much information about me. So if you
Mhm.
thoroughly research me, it means you're going what I call off the books, meaning not just on the internet. That's my reading on it. I don't know. And so when I see that, I go, people can get wrapped up and fixated and obsessed with people. Now we know that occurs offline. We've known that for years and years and years. But it really seems to occur on YouTube a lot, and people seem to shrug it off like it's no
Yeah.
big deal. Like I'm reading this and I'm going, why? I'm like, I'm not, I was not happy about it. Now, maybe, maybe turnabout is fair play. I was a journalist for 22 years. I had to research people. I had to look people up. I had to investigate people. So I understand that people are going to want to look into me, and I don't mind. And that's fine for me because, in fact, I've encouraged it. I've said, look, if you're going to say something untrue about me or lie or just say nonsense, just why don't you just look me up? Because I've had to say that when I've gone on talk shows and podcasts. I've had to say, you need to look me up, or you need to go ahead, and because I feel that's part and parcel of what I have to do. Now I don't know if a lot of people feel that way. They don't go, oh, why don't you look me up? Why don't you just Google me? But I don't go, oh, don't Google me. I do go, yeah, please Google.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a term for these individuals. I
Okay.
refer to them as the mentally and intellectually challenged. Now, these are people that they cannot deal with opposing point of view without being emotional. They like to call people names. Um, Whenever they come across an opinion that they disagree with, they get very emotional, and they try to treat their own platforms as echo channels. So for that reason, I refer to them as the mentally and intellectually challenged.
So Mike,
Actually,
mentally, intellectually challenged, Mike. So I guess
actually,
when it comes to those people who are Mike, you want to drop the mic, so to
actually, I
speak.
refer to them as the mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just call it Mike.
Um, yeah.
So drop the mic.
Another,
Or drop the mic.
another. I mean, another person referred to them as slow taps
Slow.
because they have.
Ah, now that's nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. Slow taps.
Because you gotta admit, some of these people on these YouTube streets, are very slow.
As the expression goes, slower than molasses in the month of January.
Yep. I mean,
I would call them the Legion of Gloom.
well, actually, when I think about people like ourselves, I think of ourselves as an island of intelligence in a sea of stupidity.
Hmm. That's kind of a yeah, that's kind of a slightly nearly poetic way to put it.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, when you've been on a lot of these, particularly some of these biracial platforms, and you see the same culprits doing the same crap, what else
Uh,
can you refer to as?
well, I think they don't understand that they're in the wrong space to be kind of obsessed with their issues. Their issues don't fit within the confines of our space. That's what I think the problem is. It's just like your issues deserve to, your preoccupations, your views they're in other spaces, and those spaces exist on YouTube, and you should go there and you should talk about them and make light of them and whine and complain and cry and do whatever you want. But that's not what our space is. I mean, I'm in groups on YouTube, on Facebook and so forth. Like, and when you go to a group on Facebook, they got rules. You're like, you can't do this, know this, know that, know that. And if you don't observe the rules, you get kicked out of the group. But they don't seem to understand that you're coming into a space. Well, I'll give you an example. If you're on a Star Trek group on social media, you're going to be talking about Star Trek. You're not there to talk about Star Wars. I mean, if you want to mention it once or twice, fine. But if you're there and you just talk about Star Wars, not really for you. It's a Star Trek group. But if so that's the point. You talk about what the group talks about. That's why you're there, right? And so with these guys that come in, they want to talk about things that have nothing to do specifically with mixed race, biracial, multiracial concerns.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for stopping by, and I really appreciate it, considering that it's very late over by the UK.
See you.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Al.
Oh yeah, it's probably not. That's I think the problem in the space with some of the people is they have gripes and slights. And it's like, why are you here talking about those subjects and those issues? Here, I mean, that's not what we do. I mean, since I've come here, I don't hear a lot of people up in arms about those things. It's kind of strange. And I don't know why they would come to a mixed race space to argue that. I mean, I could understand talking about it maybe once on a panel. That's it. But you can't talk about it 2-3 times many.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I mean, we do see that quite a bit in these YouTube streets. And particularly when it comes to mixed race platforms. And of course, there's a whole big debate regarding how people should be identified. There are people who do not like the term mulatto. There's people who don't like the term biracial. There's people who don't like the term being mixed race. There are people who don't like the term being MGN and what have you.
Yeah, again, that what you mentioned is relevant to the biracial space. We can talk about that. But, these overwrought concerns about the status of women and men and relationships. Hey, you've got whole spaces about relationship and marriage and all that kind of stuff. How men and women relate. Go there, guys. Go there. This isn't the place. I mean, we're not interested in that here. And you got to understand, you got a number of people, you got to understand a number of the biracial women here are married. So they have relationships, they have husbands, and that's their concern. That's like, no one's getting into that. So, again, what I think they should do personally is maybe set up their own space where they can just talk about that. And that would be it. I don't know if they've done that or either go to a space or set up their own kind of space. That way they'll be satisfied. But it's not germane. Again, I understand. I mean, for me, I know it from being online for years It's like you go to a group, you go to a place. When in Rome, you do as the Romans do. When in Rome, you don't do as the Germans. You don't do as those in Berlin do, or those in Budapest, or in Odessa, or whatever. It's like there isn't. I think again, it's part of this behavior on YouTube where people think I can go to YouTube and be whatever I want, as I mentioned before, but also do whatever I want. And they don't think that there's going to be a reaction or a consequence to that. And for a number of, and sometimes for many people, there isn't. But or when it actually, and for a number of people, there is, and they don't like it. They don't like consequence because they want to be free, and they see this place as freedom. I mean, that's what I observe. I may be wrong, and if people disagree with me, that's fine. But that's what I observe. I don't really see YouTube as freedom. I don't. I don't really see how you can be free in a place like YouTube. But for a number of these people in their lives and what they've done, yeah, I'm beginning to see why they think that way. I'm beginning to see it, right? I don't agree with it, but I now see it.
Well,
I didn't before.
yeah, yeah. Well, at this point, um, those who are not going to be a positive force um, on my platform, they're going to be blocked. It is that simple. Now, sometimes it can be a challenge when you're on a platform with certain individuals that you have had conflicts with, and you do try your best to remain cordial.
Well, I think that's straightforward, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, it again. I'm at a point because of the time in the time that I've especially been a content creator, which is about nearly a year. I now see the behavioral aspects, the I don't know, thinking, because you can never really understand a person's mind. You can only understand it from an observational point of view. But I see how interesting. I see how different it is on YouTube in regards to behavior, in regards to mindsets, in regards to sort of the emotional constructs of people. I again, like I mentioned before, I now see that people come here and they really see this as kind of you know, a place where they can be free, a safe space. I don't know if there's safe spaces, but something different from their lives, however their lives are. And, it's again something that's radical, something I can never quite get into or approve of, but I'm beginning to, I can comprehend it and I can at least understand it or begin to understand it.
Mhm. I agree. Well, Al, I'm going to start to wrap this up.
Oh, good.
January, yeah, January. I try to keep it 2 hours. A couple of times I'll extend it to three. Do you have any final remarks um, in regards to the original topic, which is
Mm,
what is la nochebuena, or basically
not,
the good night?
not really. Yeah, not really in that regards. But there's not much for me to say. I think I've covered a lot that we've discussed. And I think the only thing that I would need to kind of say at this point is, you know, hopefully people will progress in regards to their YouTube channels, not just in this space, not just in biracial spaces, but in other spaces as well. So
Okay.
let's hope they do that in the new year.
Well, time would tell. Well, thank you very much. I would say happy
Thank
holidays,
you.
but then again, you don't observe any holidays. Oh, so I'm just going to say, have a safe day.
You too. Adios.
All right, take care. All right, bye. So, I'm going to give you my final remarks when it comes to, you know, when it comes to La Noche Buena. Okay, the whole purpose was to give you some sort of an understanding regarding the holiday and how it's important uh, for many people. Of course, there's some people that don't observe holidays at all, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so it's just a question of what you wish to do or not to do. Hopefully, you have gotten some knowledge in regards to what our customs like when it comes to Christmas Eve, particularly Christmas Eve in the Latino community. Now, tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing something which is sharing some humorous moments on uncommon sense. So it's an opportunity to laugh. I want to make this perfectly clear. This is not meant to ridicule anyone. This is just simply a time to go over some of the funny moments, including those moments where I have had difficulty with my internet connection. So, that being said, I do appreciate um, people like Sarah, um, who appear on the chat, and also the presence of the Owl Show. And as always, I appreciate the fact that you had allowed me to enter into your devices and give something of something where it can never be returned, which is your time. Okay, which I really appreciate. And of course, you can always leave your comments regarding the topic in, in you know excuse me, you're allowed to enter your comments after the stream is over. All that I ask is please keep it respectable. So that being said, I just want to thank everyone who catched it live or will catch it on the playback. So that being said, I just want to wish everyone a very pleasant good night. Be safe out there, and hopefully I will catch some of you tomorrow. That being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, and I wish all of you a very good night. Take care. Peace out.
Be strong.